So the more I've thought and conversed and written about episode 3 of The Rings of Power, the more I feel almost betrayed, if that's the right word. The first 2 episodes, again, I thought were pretty good, and I thought, well, I really enjoyed the feel of the first 2 episodes, which sort of just bring you back into Middle Earth. They introduce a lot, so I give a lot of credit to these first 2 episodes, sort of as introductory episodes, covering a lot of ground, introducing a lot of characters, not really building up much story momentum, but just sort of setting the table, laying out what this world was going to look like, sound like, and introducing us to the first batch of characters. And as a series premiere, I thought it worked pretty well. But episode 3 has shaken my faith in this story, and that's pretty fast. It's pretty fast to go from like, wow, this was a really cool introduction to this story to, oh crap, what's going on here? As I mentioned in a previous video and in my writing, the one of the chief problems here is Galadriel and the casting of Morfydd Clark, who seems like she's probably a perfectly fine actress, but in this role seems too mousy, too short, too I don't know, like I said, written into this sort of angry, aggressive, hostile, socially inept teenager, to the point where Elendil talks down to her like, oh, you remind me of my children. Of course, his children actually seem older than she does. She really comes off as just nothing like how I picture her. So anyways, the other problem I have is just the writing. The writing has really, I don't even know if it's gone downhill in this episode, or if it's just circumstantial to what scenes take place and how that writing then comes across as much worse. So I'm going to play a short scene in the Hall of Law when Galadriel and Elendil find this, I guess, ancient note from a spy. Like a spy has infiltrated some of Sauron's orc legions and found this map with a note in the Black Speech. And I don't know, because I don't know when this would have occurred. And then if it occurred a long time ago, which is the only timeline that makes sense for a spy to be infiltrating orcs that they haven't seen in, an eon, then I don't know why Galadriel acts the way she does after, like, oh, if Sauron's really back, it could be so bad for everybody. Anyways, this is just such massive cringe watching this whole scene that, man, it really threw me. And it really has me thinking that we are actually going to see a repeat of Wheel of Time that just looks prettier, but is just as heartless and poorly written.
What is this?
The account of a human spy retrieved from an enemy dungeon. He drew this to recall the tower's location.
Wait a moment. I must be blind. This is no sigil. It is a map of the Southlands. It is as Halbrand said.
And the inscription?
It is the Black Speech. It speaks not only of a place, but a plan. A plan by which to create a realm of their own, where evil would not only endure, but thrive. A plan to be enacted in the event of Morgoth's defeat. By his successor.
Galadriel?
Matters are worse than I imagined.
And the Southlands are in grave danger.
If Sauron has indeed returned, the Southlands are but the beginning.
So when I wrote about this, I made up some fake dialogue between like Sauron and one of his lieutenants, where they're like, we're going to have a realm of evil. A realm of evil where evil doesn't just survive but thrives, twirling their mustaches. And it's like, really? This is what you think In the event of Morgoth's defeat, we will create a realm of evil where evil will thrive and we can live in our evil ways. Yeah. And I don't know. So I honestly, I can understand why they're compressing the timelines so much in this show, because it's so many thousands of years where nothing really happens, with interspersed with these big events like the Forging of the Rings. But of course, the timelines are so disparate at this point. You know, Sauron actually returns from hiding in about Second Age 1000. The Forging of the Rings is around 1600, a little before. But you don't have Elendil even born until like around, I think, 3119 or something. So Sauron has been back. You know, by the time Elendil is around, Sauron's been back for a long time. There's already been battles against him during when he went and took the rings and sacked Eregion. Sorry, I always get G's mixed up. It's just a weird tick of mine. And then, you know, thousands of years later is when Ar-Pharazôn goes and makes war against Sauron, and his army is so vast and powerful that Sauron's army just runs away. And he then captures Sauron and takes him back to Numenor. And of course, they're going to combine and compress all these timelines into one storyline that can go over a few seasons. And I get why they're doing that, but to do that well, you have to have really, really, really smart writers. And already we're seeing problems with the writing. For instance, just the constant references to Morgoth. You know, Morgoth would be a long and distantly forgotten fable that most people in the world would have completely forgotten about. Only, you know, the elves would really remember Morgoth, and not even all of them. Only ancient ones like Galadriel, and probably like Gil-galad and you know, some of the more well-versed and learned elves that pay attention to these things, leaders and so forth. Common people like Bronwyn in the Southlands, when she's talking to Erendir, would not know about Morgoth. I mean, very few people would even know about Sauron if he hasn't come back yet, because he's been gone for thousands of years. Or like, depending on how this timeline works, and that's the other tricky thing, how long has he been gone? In the first episode, it made it sound like quite a while, to the point where people just forgot about him. But then they have people just talking about him willy-nilly, like, oh yeah, Sauron, that guy, yep, totally remember him, even though apparently everyone's forgotten about him. So it's very contradictory. And the problem with compressing timelines is, like, they have to establish when this is. Even if they compress everything, like, is this 2,000 years after Sauron disappeared? You know, when does this actually take place? Like, you have to create a new timeline to make it make sense and work within the show. You can't just kind of, like, grab bag it. And that's what seems to be happening here. And that's just poor scripting. Like, this is what I can't understand about all these shows. They have huge budgets, and they put all that money into costumes, into special effects, into the music, into everything except for the writing. And we all know, and I'm not even just being a biased writer here, but we all know that to make a good show, you need good writing first and foremost. You could have all of this take place, you know, with budget cameras, budget costumes, and if it had a really good script, people would still enjoy it. You know, that's what makes much more low-budget shows like Better Call Saul so damn good, is that they have great scripts and great writing that creates complex and interesting characters and puts them in difficult, challenging situations where they have to make tough choices. And, you know, where we actually have character-driven stories is when these succeed the most. So, you know, take all the liberties you want with Lord of the Rings, with Tolkien's universe. Take all the liberties you want with, you know, casting, a more diverse cast, compressing the timeline, but give me a freaking good story, right? Give me a good story with good dialogue and interesting characters. And you know, while I definitely got a Tolkien-esque vibe from the first couple episodes, and especially from the Harfoots, despite their ridiculous Irish accents, what's missing in the third, and what is missing so far in general, is a sense of, like, good friendship, fellowship, camaraderie, all the things that you know, this is the problem with Galadriel also, is like there's never any sort of, except for that one brief meeting with Elrond, which wasn't even that warm, there's not a lot of that warmth. You see some of it with Elrond and Durin, and you see some of it with, you know, Nori and Poppy, but for the most part, even like the little bit of like romantic love that you see between Bronwyn and Arendir is very cold. But Tolkien is, you know, if we're gonna have a Tolkien show, it's better like emphasize the qualities that he believed in, like camaraderie and friendship, and those slow but poignant moments where characters have heartfelt connection. You know, what makes Lord of the Rings in a lot of ways is Frodo and Sam and their bond, and how that power of friendship and loyalty can overcome even the most powerful ancient Dark Lord. So right now, I'm kind of at this point where, yeah, I totally am fine with them compressing the timelines, but only if they can pull it off. And right now, you know, after watching scenes like the one we just watched, and just, you know, stupid shit like Galadriel pulling her little knife on Elendil, or just acting like a jerk when she's taken in front of the Númenórean court, and like, you know, she just was saved by these people. There's got to be a better way to present this character as strong, but not just pissed off all the time. And I will say, as far as the elves go, I think Arendir right now is giving me the most elvish feel. He of all of them feels the most almost ethereal and mysterious, and like not like a human. All the other elves really sort of just seem like humans to me at this point with pointy ears, but they have to do a better job of making elves seem like elves. Anyways, I'm just rambling, so I'll stop there. But next video I think will be House of the Dragon related. That comes out tonight. So thanks for watching. Peace.